Hello, my brothers and sisters. This is Auntie Katie, your sister from another mother. Welcome again to this channel where we teach, help, save, and challenge one another to change for a better tomorrow. People have been asking me why Centers of Hope. I feel like we are all centers of hope for one another. We have the capacity to teach, to help, challenge, inspire, encourage. The list goes on. The whole idea is that probably with this kind of approach, we can start to tackle the issues that affect us every day, the things that we don't really talk about. We just hide them under the carpet, thinking that they'll just fade away. Sadly, life isn't like that. It mounts up. And it mounts up a lot um, in sicknesses, in being bitter, it just becomes toxic, really. So the idea is to start tackling these issues one by one. Each one in their own in their own communities. That's the new me, so don't worry about it. Um, in our society where we live, at home, in the workplace, we are all centers of hope because iron sharpens iron. So today we're going to talk about reconciliation. Yet to others is a no-go area, that one. I know and I hear you completely. However, reconciliation of today, we are talking about self-reconciliation. You in particular, and me, to start working towards reconciliation with self without we can even start to scratch reconciliation with others. I always say you need to love you because there's just only one you. So I need to love me because there's only one me. You are unique in God's eyes, no matter what. So let nobody tell you otherwise, including me. So today we're going to talk about this reconciliation. Because 9 out of 10, we condemn ourselves really badly. Oh, silly me. Oh, we call ourselves names before anybody does. I know I do. So let's just take a practice. When was the last time you were so proud of yourself that you were just like, oh, I have done well? When did you pat yourself on the back? Or is it always when you open the fridge like me and you're blank? And you go now and now again. Another thing is I have to use glasses. And sometimes you're looking for glasses and the glasses are in your eyes and you're thinking, what all this is happening? It means getting old. No, it's about, self-condemning most of the time that it is okay to forget. It is okay to do some silly things. It is okay to make mistakes because that's when we learn from it. And today, as you know me, I use stories in the Bible or some of the stories when you read them, you're like, whoa. Yeah. So, but today we're going to look at the story of the prodigal son. Majority of my talks will be referring to this story. It is a story, you can Google it, because I'm not a preacher, so I'm not going to be preaching to you and quoting scriptures or whatnot. No, I'll be just talking about the story that I've read, or when I was growing up, it was told, and it's still being told today. It's about a prodigal son. The story goes in a nutshell. This boy wakes up in the morning. We don't know the background. There are three sides to every story. The other story, the third side, never gets told, and it's always the truth. So this boy just wakes up and tells his father, I need my inheritance. Um, so the dad gives him his inheritance. Whatever influenced this boy to say that, we'll never know. But the father gives his inheritance. Usually inheritance is after you've died. But in this case, he wanted it before the father dies. It hurt his father and the family around. That is a fact. Then the boy goes. Wherever that he went, nobody knows, but he did. The father on the other end was hating every day. The story says he was looking. I don't know how long it was, but he was just there thinking that one day the son will return. On the other hand, the story says the boy got involved in all sorts. Obviously, he had money, When you have money, oh boy, everybody comes into you because you've got something that they need. So the story says he lived lavishly until all the money finished and the friends disappeared. He needed to survive. If you remember, I've done survival skills. He might have tried some. And it lasted into him resulting into starting eating with pigs. I don't know where your background is like, but I know the feed for the animals. It is not nice. Now, for someone like that who was coming from this kind of background to find himself in a situation or circumstances or in an environment now that he had to compromise for his survival, it was tough. Now, spiritually, naturally we have eyes, but spiritually you have eyes and another eye. I'll call it, the Holy Spirit. There's the Son, the God, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. I love the Holy Spirit because the Holy Spirit is the inner you, is always sincere with you, So a day came of reckoning, or I would say the penny dropped. When the penny dropped, he said, hang on a minute. In one of my videos, I've said, you stop, you pause, you think, then you take action. Or you take a breathing exercise. So because where we're going is going to be a little bit deeper. So we're going to take a breathing exercise. So you breathe in and you hold it. You hold the breath in rather. And then you breathe out slowly. Count to about 7 until you actually find your breath actually reaches the belly, the bottom of your belly. And you said, help me. I don't know what mechanism about how this boy in question, when he came to reckoning to say, hang on a minute, what is wrong with me that I am eating together with pigs? I am living the opposite of who I was. There were 2 options for this young man. One option was to carry on. Another option was to go back to basics. Why am I here? What has happened? A day of reckoning. All of us have gone through that phase, and I don't know whether you've come to a day of reckoning or your spiritual eyes, another set of eyes has opened, or you hear, and sometimes you hear differently the same amount. I don't know. But this gentleman, he sits down and he says, hang on a minute. I need to go back to basics. And what he needed to do, in my opinion, was to actually, what we say, eating a humble pie, thinking, how do I actually approach this? So it wasn't just like a snapshot. So, this is what I'm going to do. No, it wasn't. It was the literally taking time to think about a lot of things that had happened to him, upbringing and everything else, and thought, I have to take an action. I need to go back to my father. Now, this is the key. He could have gone to the father, still demanding his status as a father, as a son to a father, to say, I've just come back, receive me. But there's something about this boy that he has really taken me to the core. It was humbleness to say, you know what, I am going back to my father. I know he's going to receive me. But for what I have caused, because I know that my father treats his servants well, feeds the animals' chances better, I would rather go back there and start, go back as a servant, work as a servant, do what the servants are doing, eat within what we call like boys' quarters or the quarters share, or something that you may call it, but not to go in the actual, whether it was a palace or a house. But this boy comes he says, I'm going to approach my father to say, if you can take me back, I will serve. And he returns, to his father, only to find that the father was already waiting with his hands quite open for a hug. This boy wasn't expecting a hug at all. He was expecting that the father would just say, go back. But he didn't. You can read about the story. It's amazing story that relates to all of us today. We have messed up. Big time. I know I have. Wrong decisions. You reach my age and you haven't made wrong decisions. Have like in a world today, there's so many things that cause you not to be who you are. There's so many influences that are around there, situations that surrounds us to do things that we don't even intend to do. But when you start self-forgiving, that this young man, the hope is endless. The opportunities are endless. And I'm just talking to you, my brother, my sister. Let's take a page, a leaf out of this young man. I don't know how old he was. Of just going back to basics, where we have derailed, and start making peace with ourselves before we can even begin to scratch the other side. Because he took responsibility of his action and start moving towards. He did not expect anything, but because he reached out. So what am I saying today? Look within yourself. I'm looking within ourselves. See where we have the capacity to forgive ourselves. Then the healing starts from inside and it radiates outside. And if the world may not accept you, that is okay. But you know that you're at peace with yourself. And when you're at peace with yourself, 90%, if not more, you'll be able to impact on others around you. So let's try our best to forgive ourselves and start forging ahead. And then we're going to talk about reconciliation at large. But first, self-heal. It is not easy. Trust me, I know. it is not easy at all to forgive yourself, because the world has condemned you. You have condemned yourself. Your family has condemned you. There's so many things but there's only one you. And if you can manage to look at yourself in the mirror and see the beauty that is in front of you, regardless, there's always that inner beauty that you hold. And please, if this is not for you, that is okay. But if you know someone else that needs to go back to basics, just reconcile with self, to start loving self, then pass it on. And whatever that you do, or in whatever circumstance